Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. But first, let's take a step back and consider our title. First of all, why is our title here? Why is our title what it is? It is what it is. But again, I had completed speciality. Speciality is special with an ITY. It is the natural tendency to differentiate for sexual antagonism. And I did that derivation over email. So I have this demonstration of completion of analysis, and I'm like, hey, this process is going to happen again. Let's document everything. And so the most comprehensive thing I could think of was from rhythm to algorithm. Literally, it's logically bounded, right? From rhythm to algorithm. We're going from this thing, rhythm, a cycle that does work. That's our well-defined physical definition. It is clearly and overwhelmingly apparent. It is the maximization of momentum transfer. If you want to do something efficiently, you form a rhythm, and it is linguistically evident by any time a rhythm is formed, people blurting out the word rhythm. And so algorithm, that's kind of like our variable thing that we're trying to isolate. What is it? Or at least the thing that isn't well defined. And so last episode, we've connected sensorality, this variable, this linguistic thing that we've generated, to algorithmicality. But holistically, we have this bound, we have this thing, rhythm, and then we have some other thing, algorithm, something rhythm, literally, that's like historically the etymology, algo, rhythm, something rhythm, but practically it's an inanimate sorting procedure. Yeah. And so then mathematically, from rhythm to algorithm is some sort of assessment of base and range, right? Rhythm is our base concept. We just clearly described what it is. Algorithm, what is it? Inanimate sorting, you kind of program it, you train it, it adapts. It's not sentience. You kind of train it to be as sentient as it can, but there's a limit clearly, and we're defining that logically. But from rhythm to algorithm, what is the base and what is the range? Right? Are algorithms the range of rhythm? Is that even the right question to ask? So the holistically in all of research, what you're doing, again, is you're trying to ask the right question. Our answer is definitely sensorality. We've progressed our linguistics tremendously. If you're here watching part 343, but we're just progressing our linguistics. I don't even want to say we're trying to do something. We're just arriving at results. And so, but from rhythm to algorithm, with all things I just said, is really some sort of relationship between base and range. We have a finite amount of sounds. We have an infinite amount of experiences to describe people in the future that are going to live lives. We have Rizzlers with aura today. Who knows what we have tomorrow? But point being is we have this system of sound that needs to represent infinite logic, infinite experiences describing physical processes without bound. Allitalitality is how it manifests linguistically. So our base is our limit. It is our basis is as is. There's our doggy barker. We'll keep going. We'll see how long he barks. But from base to range is really what from rhythm to algorithm is kind of assessing or stating. And so, again, I don't know how long the doggy timer is going to go off today. It's classic. So let's give it a pause. I don't want to pause, but it doesn't really matter. And so from rhythm to algorithm is some sort of relationship of base and range. We'll pick back up here in a second. So as you can see, I have captured our culprit. But what I was saying again is just from rhythm to algorithm is the statement of our kind of like our logical bounds, like just a theorem that we're iterating through altogether. And so this is Gus. I call it Gus mode. His name is Gus. When he goes into Gus mode, he just starts barking a lot. But like vibration is the inverse of rhythm. When you have vibration on your phone, it controls your volume. If you put more power through that vibration, it will literally move. And so vibration is the limit of rhythm. We've explored and demonstrated a lot of this inverse relationship, two sides of the same coin, energy, entropy, velocity, viscosity, love, hate. But we're developing our linguistics to a point of completion. And so that is what our title kind of reflects. And so now, again, we have this derivation. Right? Now we introduce this concept of deriving. So we derive our base from our range kind of logically. And so we're trying to find some sort of completion within our linguistics. I knew this wasn't going to last long, so let's let our visiting scholar go. But hopefully he doesn't bark too much. We'll see. And so that is kind of, again, we're just trying to find some sort of completion for the syllability. That was the motivation for our title. It's a theorem. Well, it's not even like a theorem. From rhythm to algorithm. It's just an acknowledgement of a bound. Rhythm and other thing rhythm. Literally something rhythm. And so that's our title. We're trying to find this completion, and it's kind of, I'm expecting it to come from algorithm to rhythm, which we hit that last episode. And so continuing on, just taking through the parts, connecting some other things, but I did something wrong. I got something logically, the implications directly wrong. Corrected it on the screen, literally hasn't hit published on YouTube yet, but you'll see the error. And so sensorality is mirrorless. The actual linguistics, the theorems that I put on the screen, the logic of those things don't even really need to be correct. It's just identifying the two connections, but we did get one wrong. Sensorality is or lessality. Again, just taking off the syllability from mirrorless, we logically and historically just told you why it is. Again, it is. And I have to present the information like, oh yeah, science and stuff, but that's what happened. Mirroring is a term that predates the thing you see in your bathroom. And we just take it that right, or lessality. Like literally just a chunk of the word or less generalized ality. Sensorality is or lessality. Irreducibility is the inability to reduce. And so we get, again, with these double negatives, like logically irreducibility, inability, we've introduced more syllability, right? Is the, this is that. Irreducibility is the inability to reduce. Logically, I haven't said anything new, but we're just bolstering our syllability so we can reduce through it and have our stabilized theorem, which is our definition. But the thing that I got wrong was I wrote reducibility resolves directly again to mass, the things you see, right? They don't reduce, and so the things you don't, I didn't acknowledge it, but I corrected it just to the next things. What I said directly after that, like resolution is unmovable. Right, like so that even there, like that one that's a bad thing because again, mass is movable. You can move things, but the resolution, again, mass is the resolution of charge dynamic. And so, but I had said reducibility resolves, but that's not really true because the things you can see are not reduced. Right, you can't see nothing, and reducibility. Resolving would mean resolution. Again, resolution produces definition. That was literally one of those big green titles, which are proofing syllability statements. Or again, anything that it contains enough proofing where it's mostly a proof episode. But we're at the point where these final reductions, like every step is like a proof thing. But the actual logical implications of saying reducibility resolves, no, the things you see, that is physical resolution, how tight that rhythm is, how tight that dynamic is, gives you the bounding when you adjust your camera and you see those end polygons go in and out of focus. That is resolution. That's the thing you can see. And so that's the thing that is not reduced. So that was directly wrong. But reducibility is unresolvable. You can't see the things that have been reduced. Nothingness is not perceivable. And so you hear that kind of logically acknowledged with, it was reduced to nothing. They bombed this place, it was reduced to rubble, it was reduced to nothing. That's describing irreducibility is unresolvable. You can't see the things that aren't there. Socioeconomically, if you blow up a bunch of people's family, right, you reduce them to rubble, that's unresolvable. People are just not going to want to work with you. But that was directly wrong for the logical implications that I presented. So bad Brad, I got something wrong. But I didn't get all mad, I didn't get all tiffy like Terrence Teo, I just corrected it in the next episode and moved along. But again, truly, it's like, it's a rare occurrence. Because my presentation of language, I feel it. Like it's like, again, like anybody else when you're presenting a logical argument, you can hear stupidity out loud. And it's like it's like I have no reservation to sound stupid. It's just like you can feel it. So it's like, again, take 2 seconds to think about what you're saying is effectively what I'm trying to articulate. But I got something wrong directly logically. What is the difference in what I meant to say? Because again, the Reducibility is unresolvable. You can't see things that aren't there. When you said, the next thing that I wanted to say was resolution is comprehensible, right? If you can see it, if you can interact with it, it's resolvable. That is correct. So I immediately kind of corrected it logically, but I did not acknowledge it. So I wanted to point out, I get stuff wrong on my homework too. But what is the relationship between resolution and dissolution, right? Dissolving goes away. Resolving stabilizes, right? You can see the things that have resolution. That's literally what's on your screen. Oh, HD, 4K, those are the pixels. Those are the units you can see. Resolution. But then dissolution is something going away. And then so resolution, resolve, dissolution, dissolve. And so now we have this fundamental, because remember, sensorality needs to pair to a unique string of syllability, that's like the most, still to me, like the reduced word forms that you don't see, that's a big, what the fuck kind of. And then all of the people that have ever lived, like you still have to find unique syllability, but in the same way cryptography, right? You have 11 numbers in some sort of cryptography code, and it's the range gets tremendously huge really quick. But that reduction, you still have to find uniqueness in that reduction. And so we've gotten that. Sensorality, right, in the same way we had deceleration is the maximum, vibration is maximum deceleration as a fundamental theorem of physics. No, Mr. Gus, we're gonna trek on here. And so sensorality dissolves, this will be spelled on your screen, and sensorality resolves. And so the fundamental differentiation of the syllability, the letters, they're not correct spellings, right? D-E-S-O-L-V-E-S is not how you spell dissolve, D-I-S-S-O-L-V-E. And then I want to say concurrently or at the same time, again, we're showing this fundamental differentiation linguistically. Sensorality resolves, R-I-S-O-L-V-E-S. And so riz, like aura, riz, but the spelling is unique. And so again, like I'm saying, we're reducing this to fundamental kind of like fractions, where you cross multiply and then you have a solution. A resolution isn't a solution, right? It stabilizes conceptually. And so that brings me to, right, I put it on the screen again where it's still a proof. The conclusion is correct. Gussie, I'm trying to solve all science again. But it is what it is not a resolution in and of itself, right? Where we're just getting back to the war, you reduce somebody to rubble, right? It is what it is would kind of mean like we're going to war now. It is what it is. But that's not resolution logically, and it's certainly not resolution linguistically. What it is linguistically is like this connection. Because I typically say it is what it is the form of all solutions or the form of all resolutions. It's like logic is bounded, language is bounded, letters represent language. It's again like the form, like the linguistical form, like it, like the word it, it, hit, bit, sit. It builds the linguistics, so it resolves the linguistics, but that's not the logical implications, that's not the physical reality. And so when you say it is what it is, that's not really a resolution even and at all. It's not a resolution. And so I wanted to clear that up. I hope that does clear stuff up. Again, this is all at the logical, where once we get to the direct demonstration of sensorality is there's no denying. Trying to provide you insight. Definitely got something wrong here. But we have now paired sensorality dissolves and resolves with unique spellings, but conceptually making sense. It is what it is not a resolution. It's the linguistical form. When I'm saying resolution, right? Me being able to see this mass, like that has resolution. Me having pixels on a screen, that's resolution. Me saying, hey Johnny, you want a fish and you have 3 fish and he wants 2 baskets and you give him 1 fish in 1 basket and then they're happy, that's a resolution. But if you're at war and somebody throws up their hands and says, it is what it is, we're gonna fight back, right? It's not a resolution. It's the linguistical structure is what you reduce all logic to. And you represent that logic to with shapes that are letters. So it's like, again, we're deriving the form of all solutions, which is just so many. I don't know what to say to you people because this is just, here are the answers. This isn't when I'm in math class. There's nothing else to say. You have to get this. And so it is what it is not a resolution. I've cleared it up as much as I could. Sensorality dissolves, sensorality resolves, spelling on your screen. And now, this was the literal, and I've extended it into a theorem now, but this is literally going from algorithm to rhythm, which I want to say is some sort of effect going from range to base. But then, like, what is algorithm their unique range of rhythm? What about logarithm, or, you know, all these other rhythm things? Logarithm, algorithm, we talked about that. And again, we're just getting to this final resolution. But serality is go rhythmicality. That was the direct from algorithm. Algorithm is sensorality, the linguistical element we derived and completed. And again, we'll show that the completion will be shown in the reduction. But serality is go rhythmicality is literally going from algorithm to rhythm. And then to connect that, because again, back to when I started this whole thing, it's just we're showing the logical bounds of a whole structure. And that's from rhythm to algorithm. It's not like an analytical statement. It's not a conclusion. It's an acknowledgement of linguistical similarity. Serality is go rhythmicality is from algorithm to rhythm. And now it sounds a little cumbersome, but that is literally the completion bound of this whole fucking derivation. And we just have to refine it enough to have this linguistic reduction. Words have meaning. Meaning is averaging. Words have meaning. Words have averages. Wording is averaging. Sensorality is averageality. And again, another one of those average, just plus ality. The actual linguistic construction feels cumbersome. It's not a meaningful thing. Equality is fair. Sensorality is equality. Orality is equality. Highlighted by people saying, you know, people find their voice. Everyone finds their voice. They find their tribe. It's important to hear all of these voices. All sentiment to express that orality is equality. Everyone deserves to be heard. Their experience, they're articulating the same physics, the same feelings. Our equality is powerful, all right? We did a lot of power stuff. Equality is powerful. Are sensors powerful? And that's with a C. Like literally, when you walk into Kroger and it says a pressure sensor, right? Is that powered? Yes. Again, we're having this, again, language is literal. We can't break language. If you're following this lecture series and your head's all over the fucking place, you can't break language. Just go out into the world. You're feeling my own, again, personal intuition to resolve. We don't know what question we're trying to ask. We're deriving the question by just progressing the consistency of language. And so are sensors powerful? Yes. Your motion sensors, you power them. But then again, how about a pressure sensor? How about when you go to a stoplight and you induce a magnetic field because you're a big chunk of moving charge? That's how you induce a magnetic field to know, like when you drive on a car space and there's that big cutout of the metal wiring on the ground. Right, you're inducing a magnetic field. That's what a sensor is. Again, we're back to magnets are sensors. So we're completing all of this. But is that power? Is that energy velocity? Right, movement potential. I mean, electricity energy is kind of what I thought there. I gotta ask the question. Might as well try to answer it. Right, is that power? Energy velocity, the potential for movement, the potential to do work. Why did I think electricality there? It doesn't matter. Are sensors powerful? Moving along. And so, again, our big quote-unquote first principle, which is really just like our starting point that we have to show consistency through. Nothing is touching because of the electric charge. But again, see, we just use electric as a charge is charge. It is the unirreducible thing, that dynamic that forms mass. And all words are irreducible. And we're at the point where if you literally try to reduce anything, you can't. This is calculating physical properties based on language, which is linguistics is physics. Nothing is touching, everything is connected. And then science made me jump on over to Understanding Terrorism, the first publication I put out. Right? Everything, what connects us is love. But that's not emotional. Love is a form of volume. Right? We exist in the same space. The observable universe is one volume. But then volume connects back to our rigorous physics proper. Volume connects. Density is definite. Density is mass divided by volume. When I turn up my volume on my phone, what am I doing? If I typed it into Google, and I did because Google always gets shit wrong, that's why I barely ever use that garbage besides for spelling. Right? What is power to volume? Volume, density is mass divided by volume. Of these things, what is well defined as mass, it's this thing right here, it's stabilized charge. Density, space, is volume. Density is mass per unit, or density is mass divided by volume. But right there, you're thinking volume is space, but when I turn up my volume on my phone, that's not space. Or is it? Volume is volume. What is it? But we have this fundamental relationship of density, volume, and mass. 3 words that represent things. Mass is the most well-defined. Volume, we have that. Density, I immediately think tensity, tense, some sort of iteration thing going on. But again, what is density to volume? What is density to power? But volume, if you Google it, the operative word they say is amplitude. But it's power. Volume is to power. If I'm turning up the volume on my phone, there's more, the velocity of energy, the electricality, the current is stronger. That is definitely what's occurring when my volume increases on my phone. Concentration increases density. What is density to tension? And those linguistic forms are extremely similar. Tension is dense. Right? If you're a tense person, you're a dense person. Again, there's no point to try to conjecture. We're literally calculating and reducing a physical property. Once we reduce the physics definition, again, it will be so close, but my rights continue to be violated. It is extremely illegal. It has destroyed my life. That is why, this is a good point to talk about. This is why I get it is what it is in terms of the process, right? It's okay, we have not solved sensorality yet. That would be the resolution. What is sensorality? Bam, I'd be able to show it to you on your screen. It'd be done. There'd be no explanation. It is what it is. We're not resolved anything yet. And so that was back to what we were talking about earlier. But on a personal level, it's a physical demonstration of a physical limit. I cannot speed this shit up. When you goofy science team go have your people try to tap in at certain times, that's like the universal information dump. You very literally get to a place where there's no more shit to learn. And so the agitation on a personal level comes from the awareness that my personal life is fucked. I will never have a career in a family. Here is all of science, and there is nothing else I can do, literally. Nothing is unresolvable. You can't see it. You can't perceive it. There is no one to call. There is nothing to do. And I just have to let the intuition develop because none of this stuff is difficult. It just, the information doesn't exist yet. And physical processes take time. Work takes time on a personal, direct Brad level. But I've already done all of this shit. I'm owed a ton of money, and my personal health and life is destroyed. My rights have remained violated. No one cares. It remains profoundly and hilariously and heinously disgusting that any people that is involved to any extent suppressing science ever benefits from my work to my estate. Fuck them as legally, as prolifically as possible. Fuck them all. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.